because, and I don't know if it's true or not, but because most of the translation in Canada, and I've, that's, I guess that's my own judgment call on that one. Most of the translation in Canada is public sector related.
Yes,
The
a lot.
commercial aspect of the translation in Canada is much, much smaller. Exist obviously, and there's many companies in Canada translate, and thousands of them I dealt with. But if you take all the translation and aggregately put them together into one bucket, I think there'll be like the 80-20 rules.
Yes,
80% of the 80% of the content translated in Canada is public sector related, and 20% of it is for commercial reasons.
and I don't think that's just your perception. I think it's true.
Oh, you think
Yeah,
it's
it's.
true?
I
I was
think it's
just
true.
making a guess there. Uh, Based on what I've dealt with, like, I mean, I always dealt with this reality is that most of the transition comes from the public sector, and about 20% of the entire volume comes out of the commercial sector,
Hmm.
which is brings a whole bunch of behavior, brings a whole bunch of tradition in the way, or process in the way we deal with transition in Canada as opposed to other countries.
For sure.
Name the country, they deal with it in different ways. With the exception of Brussels, let's say in Europe, which is mostly like Ottawa.
Hmm.
Most of the work is done for the public sector, obviously for the European Union. So there are some similarities there, but that's where it stops, because most of the countries translate, or markets translate for the purpose of export. They want to take a product from
Yes,
one location to another, like
to
we talked
another.
about
Yeah.
IKEA earlier, but IKEA doesn't want to translate. They want to use a stick man. I'm picking on IKEA today, so I'm probably going to get a comment from somebody about it, but that's fine.
I think the legislation has something to do with it a lot too in Canada. Everything has been being translated because of the law
Yeah, I know, but Switzerland's
and the
got like
government.
the same legislation, but for
Hmm.
five languages. Sorry,
For five languages, yes, but it has an impact on what's being translated in the government.
100%, 100%. Yeah,
And the desire to translate too. I mean, you don't have something translated sometimes just because you want it translated, it's because it's the law. So
yeah.
people are not happy to pay for that. Oh, so
Look, I mean,
there's
even
like
if
this
there is no law,
connotation.
if there is no law, let's pretend there is no laws to force you to translate. As a commercial person that you're trying to sell whatever widgets or whatever you're trying to sell to another location around you, be it in Canada or somewhere in the world, wouldn't it be the decent thing to do to
Hmm.
communicate to your customers in their own
Absolutely.
language?
In a
That would be the
marketing
decent thing to
sense,
do.
totally.
I
It's
remember when I first entered into the business like 23, 24 years ago now. I lost count. Somebody told me back then, like just early on, they told me like they gave a name of the company. I think it was General Electric or one of these companies, and they had like something going on in our industry that says, if you don't speak English, you can't buy a product. That's like 25 years ago. That's what the saying was
ouch.
25 years ago. That was a big ouch.
Yep.
Like now, you look at it where it is right now. If you don't
Hmm.
translate, you don't buy. So there is a
Exactly.
direct connection between revenue generation, and everybody validated that. That's not a myth anymore. That's not a hypothesis. This is a valid point. If you translate, you increase your revenue. Period. There is no debate
Absolutely.
on that one.
It's marketing. I mean, it's fundamental. If you want somebody to get buy your things, well, you need to reach out to them,
100%
and
in their language.
how in their language, obviously, you have to, and it's not only, I mean, if even if they understand English and your product is in English, just the fact that you'll translate for them in their culture, it makes them you have more chance that they'll want your brand.
They become your loyal customers, by the way.
Yes, and you have a relation with them. And
100%.
that's something that AI is, you know, not helping
Well,
relationship and
yeah. Well, I
human.
mean, we go from a human relationship to a completely dry robot relationship. So I don't know
Yeah,
how that's gonna go. We'll have to monitor that, I guess.
I think we're gonna turn a little back around and try to keep a little bit more human in our
Absolutely.
relations. I hope so,
So,
anyway.
as thank you so much, Sophie.